In today's video, we are going to be discussing the do's and don'ts when applying acrylic on longer nails. So, the first thing that I recommend not doing when applying acrylic on longer nails is placing that bead too high, especially if that bead is relatively small. I always recommend working in sections when applying acrylic on a longer nail. It's just easier, it's more workable, it's more functional working in sections. But if you choose to use a less amount of beads, make sure that bead is the correct size. In my case, it wasn't, and as you can see, when I went to feather that acrylic on down, it didn't fully cover that nail tip, and it left a lot of stuff, it left a lot of areas sparse. And not only that, but you can tell already that is a very thin nail still with that acrylic on there. So that's something that I recommend not doing. Another thing I recommend not doing when working with acrylic is padding the acrylic. Padding just creates dents. Not only that, but it causes the acrylic to spread, just like how it's doing here, and it just creates even more of a mess, and you're just making more work for yourself. So if you're trying to move that acrylic, or even get the acrylic to take the shape of whatever you're doing, use the tip of the brush to feather the acrylic on down, and of course keep a light hand. Use the tip of the brush, just like how I'm doing here, to feather it down to get it to move. If you need it to mold and you do want it more smooth on the sides, use the belly of the brush to mold the acrylic. Use the belly of the brush, and I'm pointing to it right here, to mold the acrylic and get it to take the shape of the nail tip. So use the tip of the brush to feather it downward. Use the belly of the brush to mold the acrylic. Try to avoid padding as much as possible. And this is the tip of the brush, just in case you're wondering what I mean when I'm saying use the tip of the brush to feather the acrylic down. Okay, so something that you want to do when working with acrylic is avoid holding that finger just straight. You want to keep that finger pointed, because what's going to happen is, usually when you're working with acrylic, all powders don't do this, as you can see, but usually if you're not holding that finger downward, the acrylic will flood into the cuticle. And I tried to create the scene here and spread it a little bit, but usually some acrylic powders will literally flood into the cuticle, which is a whole entire mess. It's a whole entire cleanup process, and that's something that you 100% want to avoid. So when you are applying acrylic, just in general, this is not just at the cuticle, always point that finger downward. And what I love about play powders is that the acrylic does move when you want it to, so it's not going to flood unless you just have entirely too much monomer. So those are just a few more quick tips for beginners when applying acrylic. I will be taking a deeper dive into how to do certain stuff, so stay tuned because more videos are coming. Stay tuned. But thank you guys so much for watching. If you have video ideas or any topics that you would like for us to cover, please comment below. We read them, we're responding to them. We definitely want to be here and help you guys.